the Hawkeyes have picked up a couple of recent commitments in the 2026 class. So that 2026 recruiting class is starting to come together, Chris. You got a wide receiver. You got another offensive lineman that come on down in the 2026 class for the Hawkeyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll start off with the receiver, DeAndre Smith, a pretty big, small but big pickup. He was a 3-star prospect by Rivals, so he's not a, super highly talented recruit by no means, but man, I mean, just watching this huddle film, I mean, this guy's speed is off the charts. That's the first thing that stands out in every single video where he has the ball in his hands, is his ability to just find space and just take off where nobody could touch him, and to be 5'11" and have that speed, that's something that could be really intriguing for fans, as he comes here in 2026, and he was a part of that, big day that I guess the Hawkeyes name was mentioned a couple times yesterday. We offered him in January of this year, commits a couple months later. So, we're blessed to beat out everybody in Miami, Florida, Michigan State, Indiana, and Maryland. So there were a couple Big Ten forwards in there that were looking at him and that we were able to steal him away from. And, he joins a class that, is a top 25 recruiting class for 2026, and the addition with the other guy who just signed a little bit less than an hour before the show, Gene Riordan from Chicago, Illinois. Shout out my suburbs guys. Hinsdale Central, he's from 6'5", 290. And per on 3, he was ranked as a #1 player in Illinois. So to get someone like him to add to that O-line, I'm sure we're going to lose a couple pieces next year, bearing eligibility reasons. But, he could be a guy who comes in and, impacts a line right away. He's quick on his feet. And every time, on every play, he just seems to drive guys through the ground, whether the ball's on the other side of the field. He's still driving the guy down on the field on the right side when the ball's on the left. It forces guys outside. So, that'll be interesting recruits. Just adds to a lot of excitement that we should have in come 2026.
Gene Riordan thought to be an interior offensive lineman, so guard, center, at least according to the projection from 24/7 Sports, which 6'4", 275 is what he's listed right now. So, not out of the realm of possibility that you could slide outside, but at least for the moment, thought to be an interior offensive lineman for Iowa. They've got a bunch of linemen already in the boat in this 2026 class. You've got Carson Nielsen as a part of that group. You've got Owen Linder a part of that group. Colin Witters is a part of that group. So the Hawkeyes, man, the work up front, it might just be about done for Iowa in the 2026 class on the offensive side of the football. So I love that, right? Getting the offensive line work, get that done quickly in the class.
Mm-hmm. I think that they're very aware of, the realistic possibility of losing so many this established, efficient offensive line group that could departure next year. One could be eligibility reasons. The other could be draft aspirations. Like we lost Connor Colby this year to the draft, and I'm sure we're going to lose Logan Jones, a couple others. So to have that kind of established up front kind of creates less pressure to find that for later in the year, for next year. And, then you got, Brody Schaefer, a receiver coming in. You got Hudson Parliament, who's a defensive line, so we got someone on the line too. Marcelo VT, he's just listed as an athlete, so we'll see where he'll be. And then Cash Herrera, the QB from California, So to have now, it was 8 an hour ago, now it's 9 players committed to Iowa. It just shows that Kirk Ferentz in the portal, he doesn't miss a beat. His year 26, 27, still going strong in the portal.
Yeah, sometimes those linemen, it is kind of they get listed as a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, and a school sees them in the other capacity. And I think Hudson Parliament is also viewed as an offensive lineman in this class for the Hawkeyes. I think that's the expectation. So Nielsen, Parliament, Linder, Witters, and Gene Riordan. So they are loaded up. Did you watch the tape from DeAndre Smith by any chance, the huddle tape?
I did.
What do you think? And let me raise my hand. I'll be the first to raise my hand. It is easy to fall in love with huddle tape, but I like what I saw, man. He's 24/7 Sports. He's not a ranked recruit right now, Chris, but he is by On3, I believe. DeAndre Smith, let me see. Yeah, he's a 3-star kid according to On3 and Rivals. He's regarded as the number 150 receiver in the 2026 class and the 112 player in the Sunshine State, as they call it, down in Florida. He's from Neptune Beach and Fletcher High School down there in Florida. I love the twitchiness, man. I love the ability of him in the return game. And he looks like somebody that, to me, translates pretty easily as an obvious put him in the slot, get him the football underneath, and then just let him use some of that twitchiness and speed and go to work. But what jumped out about the tape of DeAndre Smith?
Yeah, his speed. Easily speed. I saw from the first play I watched to the last. Anytime he gets the ball, he just is blowing by everybody. He could break some tackles, but I think his ability to, when he has a ball in his hands, to find that open space, not only that, but create the open space with his speed. That's something that he has a natural knack of. He'll have to come to, Iowa and really develop that to take his game to the next level. But, watching him, there was one punt return he had where he just cut through everybody and took off. It was very Cooper DeJean, Caden Weegan-esque, and we've dominated the punt return space for quite some time now. So maybe he could be the next guy up. Who knows? But yeah, his speed, man, is that speed is pretty crazy, and I can't wait for Hawkeye fans to really see that as he comes here.
Couple of receivers now in the class, both recently in Brody Schaefer out of Wisconsin, and now DeAndre Smith. Schaefer, a little more than a month ago, March 5th, when he committed to Iowa. So a couple of wide receivers that Tim Lester has in the class for Iowa in 2026.